Man buys $6 watch at a yard sale, has no idea it's actually worth thousands. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to m&rtv and hit the bell so you never miss any upload from us. Also, leave a like right now. Phoenix, Arizona man Zach Norris enjoys the simple things in life, like spending time with his fiance, golfing, and collecting watches. However, he never took his hobby that seriously. It was all in good fun, for a while. That all changed when one day Zach purchased a watch that cost a mere $6. Little did he know that that particular timepiece changed his life, and its true value was far greater. Zach's interest in watch collecting began years ago when he inherited an Omega Seamaster, one of the most coveted luxury watches worn by none other than James Bond. Soon afterward, he joined vintage watch groups on Facebook and began browsing yard sales and vintage shops in the hopes of finding something special. Usually, he'd walk away empty-handed, as the watch collecting business is a competitive one. It's rare to spot a valuable deal that hasn't already been bought by some other discerning consumer. Zach knew the ups and downs of the hobby. He bought a vintage Enikar Sherpa Ultra Dive for a little over $41, which ended up being worth an impressive $1,000. He also had some disastrous finds. On another occasion, Zach came across an Omega Seamaster 600 being sold for a mere $30. Being somewhat of a connoisseur at this point, he knew it was worth way more than this. Zach decided to take a lunch break and come back to purchase the watch afterward. To his great disappointment, the valuable specimen was nowhere to be found upon his return. Someone else had jumped on the offer before Norris could. He learned his lesson that day, never to miss out on a great deal. But by far the best find of Zach's life came on a day when he wasn't even looking for a watch at all. It all goes to show the best things in life happen when you aren't expecting them. It was a hot day in Phoenix, and to stay out of the sun, he decided to take a visit to his local Goodwill. Zach was searching for a good deal on a golf cart, something he'd been needing for a while. Unfortunately, he didn't find any carts that were to his liking, and was about to leave empty-handed. On his way out the store, however, he noticed a box of loose watches and decided to take a look, just for kicks. According to Norris, most of the watches were Fossils, a relatively cheap brand, and were priced at about $15. Then one particular special specimen caught his eye. The keen shopper turned the watch over and, to his shock and amazement, immediately recognized that it was a Le Coultre deep sea alarm. To a watch collector like Zach, this find was incredible. He knew all about its history. The Le Coultre deep sea alarms, or DSAs for short, is a rare line of luxury watches. So rare, in fact, that less than 1,000 were manufactured for sale in the US. But even more impressive than their scarcity is their unique functionality. DSAs were among the first watches made for deep-sea divers to be able to use alarm technology underwater. Zach was overjoyed. He had found a true treasure, and to make matters more fortuitous, Goodwill was selling the piece for only $5.99. Zach walked out of the store thrilled with his purchase, but he still wanted to take it to a watchmaker just to make completely sure he was correct about its true value. This would lead to an even more incredible discovery. A jeweler in Scottsdale confirmed the watch was a genuine DSA, and based on its slight weathering and its serial number, it was likely made in 1959, the very first year these watches were manufactured. The question remained, though, just exactly how much was it worth? Norris ran to the vintage watch groups on Facebook and posted about his find. Immediately, he was inundated with offers of people willing to buy it for thousands of dollars. Deep down, he was conflicted. On the other hand, the DSA was incredibly special to him, but at the same time, Zach knew that the money he would make off it could also change his life. The decision weighed on him. Then, like magic, Norris found the perfect buyer that put his worries to rest. Eric Koo wasn't just any watch collector. He was a revered Rolex dealer who Zach himself deeply admired. The two quickly got into negotiations. Eric explained that he already owned a DSA, but his was in such perfect condition that he didn't feel comfortable wearing it around in public. He knew Zach's slightly less pristine edition would be just what he needed. Still, the seller had some stipulations. For one, he wanted an Omega Speedmaster professional watch from Eric, along with $36,000. But more importantly, he wanted to deliver the precious watch in person. He met his idol in San Francisco, where he received another huge surprise. Not only did the two make the deal, but they also became good friends, spending the day together and eating lobster rolls at the Old Port Lobster Shack. Zach told his new friend what he planned to spend his money on: his upcoming wedding. That was his first priority, and as for the rest of the $36,000, he put it toward buying yet another luxury watch, as well as improving his overall quality of life. Yet not all who come across valuable items decide to sell them. One man had to explain his decision to turn down an $800,000 offer for an old family toy. There are countless gems waiting to be dusted off in junk rooms across the world. Usually they're discovered when a relative dies, which is precisely what happened to the Davis family. When Mr. George Davis passed away, his family was less than enthused for the task of sorting through his belongings. His home in upstate New York was stuffed with trinkets, collectibles, and old appliances. As the family sifted through the timeless novelties, they were struck by one piece in particular. Among the boxes lay a small wooden case without a lock or secure protection. Inside, a carelessly wrapped figurine was staring up at them with eyes made of rare sapphires. They'd later learned that just one of these pea-sized gems would be worth a lot. Upon first glance, the family thought they'd found an old toy soldier. They searched it for a model number or logo, but saw none. Twisting it around in their hands, they came across a few clues to the statue's incredible worth. Not only were the details exquisite, but they were far beyond the scope of a mere children's toy. The gemstones' embellishments glimmered from every angle, starting from the soldier's decorated vest of medals down to the buckles on his boots. They wrapped the delicate figurine properly and took it to a local jeweler, who rejoiced at the sight of it. Most of the gems covering the little soldier were real diamonds worth thousands apiece. The family was immediately offered $800,000 for the miniature relic. However, this got them thinking. What kind of toy soldier would be covered in real precious gemstones worth an entire lifetime of savings? Instead of selling the figurine on the spot, the Davis family took it to multiple jewelers and learned something extraordinary. One of the jewelers was able to identify the origins of the artifact based on a few telling details. The lavish embroidery and the gold braid trimming were obvious enough, but the encrusted double-headed eagles were the frosting on the cake. The Davis family had found a figurine from Imperial Russia, dating it back over 100 years. It had last been seen in 1934 when an industrialist named Armand Hammer purchased it for $2,250, now equal to about $35,000. From there, the Davis family traced it back to its astounding origins. Tsar Nicholas II was the very last Tsar of Imperial Russia, one of the largest empires the world has ever seen. In 1912, just years before Bolshevik revolutionaries overthrew the monarchy, the Tsar sensed the tides of war rising. With this, he commissioned the figurine from a company whose name you may recognize. Ever hear of Fabergé Easter eggs? You'll notice the resemblance to our trusty toy soldier. Started in 1882, the Fabergé family jewelry company was renowned for its extraordinary craftsmanship, including the embellishments like diamonds, gold, and sapphires. Sound familiar? The work of the Fabergé company was sought after by Imperial Russian royalty. The most popular of these commissions were Fabergé eggs, of which there were roughly 69 ever created. However, figurines like the toy soldier were even more precious, with about 50 total in existence. Who was this particular figurine made for? Tsar Nicholas II, in fear of losing his throne, wanted to comfort his wife, Empress Alexandria Fyodorovna. He commissioned her a gift that resembled her personal bodyguard, Nikolai Nikolaevich Pustinikov Loyal. A Fabergé statue depicting an actual person was an incredible rarity. Unfortunately, the statue did little to protect the Empress. About 5 years after the creation of the toy soldier, Nicholas II relinquished power and his family escaped to a safe hideout. Their security only lasted a year before they were slaughtered at the hands of Russian authorities. With the full story unveiled, the Davis family had to make a decision. The Davis family knew that a previous Fabergé figurine had been auctioned at Sotheby's for $1.8 million back in 2005, so the family hired an expert auctioneer to land them a staggering deal. A good auctioneer knows how to sell. they'll talk about the history, components, and manpower behind any item to secure a bid. The auctioneer for this little Fabergé soldier, however, stumbled upon the easiest job of his life. For the entire 15 minutes of bidding, the room was an absolute madhouse. The bidders were bouncing back and forth, pushing the price higher and higher with every passing second. During the mayhem, a London-based jeweler called Wartsky made a bid over the phone, crushing the competition with a whopping $6 million bid. Wartsky explained their reasoning after he let it slide. The purchase of the figure is a continuation of our long-running tradition of acquiring Imperial Russian works of art, said Wartsky. What would the jeweler buy from an average Joe to add to their expensive collection? To make this kind of profit, you'd have to stumble on a genuine Fabergé. Look for the intricate, almost decadent assortment of gemstones and engravings of gold, particularly with Russian emblems or double-headed eagles. What if you were to find a real Fabergé egg? Well, getting your hands on a real Fabergé anything would mean entering witness protection. As far as the eggs go, however, those babies sell for over $33 million a piece. For now, you may want to start the search with your own attic. Rudy Schlattner thought there might be treasures in his.